From the bustling cities of Asia to the tranquil islands of the Pacific and the vast expanses of Australia, join us in celebrating the resilience, heritage, and contributions of the Black tribes who have shaped these regions. Get ready to embark on an odyssey that transcends borders and delves deep into the heart of communities whose narratives are as diverse as the lands they call home. Welcome to Shades of Unity, revealing the Black tribes of Asia and the Pacific Islands. This is Afterworld. Thanks for watching. The Semang. The Semang people refer to a group of indigenous ethnic communities in the Malay Peninsula, which includes parts of Thailand and Malaysia. They are often categorized as Negrito, a term historically used to describe certain ethnic groups in Southeast Asia and other parts of the world. The Semang people typically exhibit physical features associated with Negrito populations, including dark skin, tightly curled hair, and a relatively short stature. Traditionally, the Semang people are hunter-gatherers, relying on the resources of the tropical rainforest for their livelihood. They practice a nomadic lifestyle, moving within their territories in search of food, and have a deep knowledge of the local environment. The Semang people historically speak languages classified as ASEAN, a group of Austroasiatic languages. However, due to cultural changes and external influences, many Semang communities now use the languages of neighboring ethnic groups. Over time, some Semang communities have undergone cultural changes, including shifts from traditional hunter-gatherer lifestyles to more settled forms of agriculture and engagement with mainstream societies. Like many indigenous groups, the Semang people face challenges related to encroachment on their traditional lands, changes in their ways of life, and the impact of external cultural influences. It's important to note that the term Negrito and its use have been criticized for perpetuating stereotypes and oversimplifying the diversity of ethnic groups in Southeast Asia. The Batek. In the primary rainforest in Malaysia Peninsula live an indigenous group called the Batek. The Batek are one of Malaysia's 133,000 Orang Asli, which simply means original people in Malay. Of the Orang Asli, there are 3 groups, further divided into 18 ethnic subgroups, representing 0.5% of the national population. Interestingly, despite their small number, the Orang Asli are not homogeneous. Each group has its own language, culture, traditions, and to a certain extent, architecture. Yet, as urbanization intensifies, it pits traditional and modern lifestyles against each other. Many Orang Asli have now left their ancient tribal heartlands to live and work in urban areas. However, the Batek still follow the nomadic lifestyle. As with other tribal groups, urbanization, development, and the lodging of their traditional habitats has resulted in their numbers falling and has pushed them deep into the protected national park of Taman Negara. There are an estimated 750 remaining Batek living in the dense rainforest in an area over twice the size of London. The Batek also believe that food belongs to the forest. So, as a person in possession of food, one has a moral duty to share. In addition, upsetting someone in the village may not only cause anger among the community, but also to the spirits. The fear of supernatural reprisal is enough to ensure the Batek are a peaceful society. The Maniq. Residing in the hills of southern Thailand, the Maniq comprise one of the last hunter-gatherer communities in the world. Although the Maniq are geographically isolated, they share many cultural features with the Semang people, most of whom live over the border in Malaysia. Due to the complex relationships among the various communities in mainland Southeast Asia, anthropologists have long debated the demographic history of the area, with 1, 2, 3, or 4 waves of human migrations having been proposed for the region. Research findings show that the Maniq are a very secluded community and have been separated from the other Semang groups in Malaysia for quite some time, indicating a recent shared history. The most striking findings of the study was a high degree of genetic differentiation exhibited by the Maniq. This is likely due to the combination of genetic drift, a long history of geographic and cultural isolation, their historically small population size, and their cultural practice of marrying largely within their own society. The Kaffirs. From the 16th through the 19th century, slaves, soldiers, and domestic workers from East Africa were brought to Sri Lanka by the Arabs, Portuguese, Dutch, and the British.
අපිට ඉතින් වැඩි දන්නේ අපේ දෙමාපියෝ කියපු එක තමයි අපි දන්නේ. අපි ලංකාවේ ඉපදිච්ච කට්ටියනේ. අපේ පප්පා නම් පිටරට අප්‍රිකා කියලා කිව්වා. ඒ ඉඳලා තමයි හමුදාවේ.
Kaffir is a name used to label this particular ethnic group of Sri Lanka. Culturally, the traditions of the Kaffirs began to fade as time passed and people were introduced to new traditions from other cultures. The slave trade is one of the reasons the Kaffir from Ethiopia, Mozambique, and other East African countries exist in Sri Lanka today. Similar to African people being dispersed throughout the Americas via the transatlantic slave trade, African people were dispersed throughout the Asian continent via the Arab slave trade, as well as European colonization. The Kaffir have contributed to Asian culture and Sri Lankan culture through their music and craftsmanship. The Kaffirs are another example of the extent of the African diaspora. African people have traveled and civilized the world on their own or by force. To the Kaffirs of Sri Lanka, we proudly stand on your shoulders. If you are still watching this video, know that you are very much appreciated. The Moluccans. The Moluccans, also known as the Maluku people, are the indigenous inhabitants of the Maluku Islands, which are part of Indonesia. The Maluku Islands, often referred to simply as the Moluccas, are an archipelago located in the eastern part of Indonesia. The population of the Moluccas consists of various ethnic groups, each with its own distinct language, culture, and traditions. Historically, the Moluccas were known as the Spice Islands due to the valuable spices such as cloves and nutmeg that were native to the region. In modern times, the Moluccans are an integral part of the diverse Indonesian population. The majority of Moluccans practice Islam, but there are also Christian and indigenous belief systems among the different communities. The Moluccans have faced social and political challenges, including conflicts between different ethnic and religious groups, but they continue to contribute to the cultural tapestry of Indonesia. The East Timorese. The East Timorese people, also known as Timorese, are the inhabitants of East Timor, a country situated in Southeast Asia, officially known as the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste. The East Timorese people are ethnically diverse, with a mix of Austronesian and Melanesian influences. The majority of the population is of Austronesian descent. The East Timorese people have faced significant challenges, including the struggle for independence, conflict, and the process of nation building. Despite these challenges, the people of East Timor continue to work towards building a stable and prosperous nation. The Kanak. The Kanak people are the indigenous inhabitants of New Caledonia, a French overseas territory located in the Southwest Pacific Ocean. The term Kanak is used to refer to the original Melanesian inhabitants of the islands. The Kanak people belong to the Malaysian ethnic group and have a distinct cultural identity. They have lived in New Caledonia for thousands of years, with a rich history of traditional customs, languages, and practices. They traditionally speak several Melanesian languages. French is also widely spoken, as New Caledonia is a French territory. Today, New Caledonia is characterized by its cultural diversity, along with people of European, Polynesian, and other backgrounds contributing to the unique social fabric of the territory. The Shabwa, Hadrami, and Socotran. The Shabwa, Hadrami, and Socotran people are distinct ethnic groups with cultural, historical, and geographical ties to specific regions. The Shabwa people are often referred to as the Shan people, an ethnic group primarily residing in the Shan state of Myanmar. Shan state is located in the eastern part of the country. The Shan people have their own language, Shan, which is member of the Thai Kadai language family. The Hadrami people are an Arab ethnic group whose historical homeland is Hadramaut, a region in the southern part of Yemen. Many Hadramis have historically migrated to various parts of the Arabian Peninsula, Southeast Asia, East Africa, and the Indian Ocean region. The Socotran people are the indigenous inhabitants of the Socotra, an archipelago located in the Arabian Sea. Socotra is part of Yemen and is known for its unique biodiversity, including plant and animal species not found anywhere else in the world. The Socotran people have their own distinct culture and language. The people of Socotra historically engage in fishing, agriculture, and trade. Each of these groups has its own unique cultural traditions, languages, and histories, and they contribute to the cultural diversity of the regions they inhabit. It's important to note that cultural identities can be complex and multifaceted, influenced by historical, geographical, and social factors. The Vedda. The Vedda people are an indigenous ethnic group of Sri Lanka, primarily residing in the central and eastern regions of the island. They are considered one of the original inhabitants of Sri Lanka, and their history dates back thousands of years. The Vedda are often recognized for their distinct culture, traditional practices, and a lifestyle that historically centers on hunting and gathering. The Veddas are believed to be descendants of the island's early inhabitants and are often considered to be one of the few remaining communities of people with indigenous roots in Sri Lanka. The Vedda people traditionally speak a unique language known as Vedda, which is distinct from the Sinhala and Tamil languages spoken by the majority of the population in Sri Lanka. The Vedda language, however, is endangered and has been influenced by contact with other languages over the years. Traditionally, the Vedda people practice hunter-gathering lifestyle, relying on the forest for hunting, gathering wild edibles, and practicing simple forms of agriculture. Their traditional knowledge of the forest and its resources has been a key aspect of their culture. The Vedda people have distinct cultural practices, including traditional dances, rituals, and ceremonies. These cultural elements often involve a strong connection to nature and the spiritual world. Like many indigenous communities around the world, the Vedda people have faced challenges related to cultural assimilation, loss of traditional lands, and changes in their way of life. As we conclude our journey, we've merely scratched the surface of the incredible diversity and cultural wealth of the Black tribes in Asia, the Pacific, and Australia. It is essential to recognize, appreciate, and preserve these unique traditions for the enrichment of our global heritage. Thank you for joining us on this enlightenment expedition. Until next time, keep exploring the world's rich tapestry of cultures. Stay safe and stay blessed. Shalom. Peace.